Hi, this is Leonard from Master Sprinter TV. Today we're going to talk about analysis of sprint mechanics. And what I've done is I've got footage from several prior workouts. I've got um, footage from anywhere from starts, during early acceleration, during max velocity. And then what I've done is I've put the camera in, or the footage into slow-mo, and then kind of captured key points anywhere, like I said, from the start to the kind of the first step out of the blocks, maybe even the first couple steps out of the blocks during max velocity, at toe off, mid flight, and then touchdown. And I've got several, or at least a few photos on each kind of step here. So we'll kind of analyze that, show kind of rooms for improvement, things that I've done correctly, and then hopefully you can kind of take some ideas for your own workouts. So kind of just, again, general observations from this footage of, or photo of me in the blocks. Uh, your head should be neutral, your spine should be flat, the torso should be kind of at like roughly a 45-degree angle, front knee about a 90-degree angle, rear knee about 120 to 135-degree angle. So I think I'm okay there. Again, shoulder should be kind of above the starting line. I'm just a little bit past that, and then like I said, on the block, on that rear block, there's a small space between the block itself and my rear foot, and at least around the heel. And what I'm observing, at least on the start, is that my foot actually has to go back just that just that inch or so before it can get that push off, and so that's actually going to slow me down because I don't have an immediate push. So that's an area for improvement. This photo here is the kind of the first step coming out of the blocks. You see the strong triple extension, kind of roughly a 45-degree angle. Now you should have low heel recovery, and then technically your ground contact should be behind the center of mass. So that might be, I guess we'll have to see it in the next step, but might be an issue there. But pretty good on the triple extension. And I guess we'll show the next slide to see where my body is at the first step. Okay, so this here is the first ground contact. So you do see a fair amount of horizontal projection. Now again, the heel recovery is maybe a little bit high there on that what was actually the lead foot, coming out of the blocks. And then there's the backside mechanics. That's going to be kind of normal in the early stages of the race. The foot should be striking behind the center mass. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think it's probably in place there, but maybe not far enough behind the center mass, but at least there. You're obviously going to have longer ground contact times in the initial stages of the race. And then your knee lift should be fairly low, but forward and not vertical. Okay, so this photo here, you're going to see close to a triple extension. Now this was what was the trail leg coming out of the blocks, and this is the first toe off of that what was the trail leg coming out of the blocks. Again, you do see a strong forward lean. Again, we are still, I mean, this is probably like the second step um, on the front leg, but yeah, so there's strong forward lean. You're still, obviously there's going to be that ground contact there. Certainly at that point, you're well behind the center of mass on the toe off, and low angles, or relatively low angles, but as you move more towards max velocity, your angles are going to come up. Well, I think we have one more slide to show there on acceleration. Okay, this is one step further, so I'm getting a couple steps out away from the blocks. You still see that strong forward lean. Definitely still see the triple extension from the trail leg up through the head. Now maybe the knee lift is a little bit higher. because you probably still want to keep fairly low heel recovery in the first few steps of the race. But you are going to have fairly long ground contact times. But again, as you get further into the race, the ground contact times will be shorter. Your torso will be more vertical. But at this point, we're still just at the first few steps, so you're still going to have fairly acute forward lean. Okay, at this point, I'm certainly probably several steps into the acceleration. Early acceleration, might be even mid acceleration. But so the torso is coming up. There's still a forward lean, but not as the angle, the torso angle is not as acute as it was in the first few steps. You do see a little less, or I guess a less acute lean, and you're coming up more vertical, and that's the kind of early mid acceleration. Okay, this is probably like one extra step still in the acceleration phase. Now here, even though it is a kind of a more of a forward angle, you still see the forward lean, which again is still going to be normal. It's just like, again, as you get further into the race, that the forward lean will lessen a little bit, and you'll see more vertical alignment between the shin and torso. But at this point, it's still fairly early on. Probably at this point, maybe I'd guess maybe 10 to 12 meters, maybe 15. But anyway, still fairly early. So there's still going to be a bit of forward lean at this point. You're still trying to generate a degree of horizontal force. Okay, so the next few photos are going to be showing me at max velocity at toe off. And this one here, you see the toes, just about ready to leave the ground. Front leg with the foot's in the plantar flexion position. The thighs almost at parallel. You see the wide arm swing, and just a slight lean in at the toe off position. And as long as it doesn't continue throughout the mid-flight and ground contact, in the touchdown phase, I think we're okay. But I guess we'll look at another photo in a moment and see how those compare, how the next couple of photos compare to this particular shot. Okay, so here's another photo of me again in the toe off phase. So again, you see maybe not quite as high of a lift on the front thigh, but you do see the plantar flexion on the front foot. The toe, you kind of see that kind of the straight line between the foot up to the hips. There is some forward lean, as long as it's not too much. I think it's okay, but it's maybe a little bit more. And then that rear arm is maybe a little bit, I guess it's parallel to the leg, but maybe shouldn't swing out quite that far back. So let's go to the next photo and shortly and see how that compares. Okay, so here's the third photo of toe off. Again, you do see fairly high knee lift or thigh lift on the front foot, plantar flexion, slight plantar flexion there on the front foot, fairly wide arm swings, and just a very slight lean of the torso at toe off. So I think I'm being fairly consistent there in that posture. And again, I think that's fairly normal there. Now we'll look shortly at mid-flight photos and see how that compares. Okay, so here's the first photo of me in mid-flight. So again, you see both feet are off the ground momentarily. Now you need to bring that trail leg up under the hips quickly, and I think I have a tendency maybe to kind of let that trail leg kind of float a little bit too long. You do see again, this is just shortly before ground contact of the front leg or front foot, and you do see that it's kind of coming into a dorsiflex position where there's no longer plantar flexion in the front foot. Now, unfortunately, though, I'm still seeing a little bit of forward lean here, and again, this is after toe off. This is mid-flight, so um, again, the torso should be fairly vertical, certainly at mid-flight, and that does not appear to be the case, at least in this photo. Let's check some other photos and see how they compare. Okay, so this is another mid-flight photo. Now this is slightly from behind. You definitely see that trail leg is kind of, it's not coming up under the hips maybe quickly enough, because again, the front foot's already, it's no longer plantar flex, it's already kind of dorsiflex, ready to hit the ground, and that trail leg is still hanging way back. Can't see the angle quite as well here as far as the torso, but I suspect here that it looks like there's probably still a little bit of forward lean, which probably in the mid-flight stage is maybe a little bit not ideal. So we'll look at one more photo here and see how the mid-flight is on this next photo as far as the positions. Okay, so this is a third mid-flight photo here. Now again, you see again still a slight lean of the torso, even though it's mid-flight. The front foot is ready to hit the ground. It is kind of seeing that dorsiflexion there where it's ready to kind of pop. That trail leg is, it's off the ground, but it's not anywhere near coming under the hips. So again, something to kind of work on. We'll see in the ground, the touchdown photos, kind of where that trail leg is at that point. But anyway, so the point of this is just kind of make those observations, and then the correction is another step. Okay, I guess we actually have one more air flight photo here, slightly from behind. Again, you see that trail leg is kind of hanging back, not coming under the hips quickly enough. And again, I'm not too far off, not too far from touchdown on that front foot. Again, it looks like there's probably a little bit of lean there of the torso, rather than it being vertical. But anyway, that's the I guess the fourth air flight photo. We'll see. Let's take a look at some touchdown photos momentarily. Okay, so here we're seeing the first touchdown photo. In this case, it is okay to have a little bit of kind of knee flexion there, just very briefly. I think probably as you look at some of these photos, you might see maybe a little bit more than ideal. Now, at least at this point, I am bringing that trail leg under the hips. Now, technically, your torso should be fairly tall, kind of a vertical shin, and we're not really seeing that here. There's clearly some lean here, some forward lean on the ground contact, and I mean, I guess it's better to have forward lean than a backward lean, but yeah, there's certainly some forward lean here, and not not really vertical positions per se. But that's the first photo. Okay, so here is another ground contact photo. Now here I do see maybe a little bit more of kind of a vertical alignment between the shins and the torso. Hip is coming, the trail leg's coming under the hips, and again we want to see that foot under the center mass, which maybe wasn't the case in the other photo, but we'll see how the next photo compares as far as touchdown. So let's check that out momentarily. Okay, here in this case, we do have touchdown. I do see a little bit of a bend in the knee. Slight bend real quick is okay, but this might still be a little bit more of an angle than is ideal. Also seeing some forward lean in the torso. The foot should be under the center of mass. It's maybe slightly behind. The arms are pretty close. I mean, I guess I'm not 100%, at neutral there, but pretty close. Again, need to bring that trail leg under the hip pretty quickly, and it seems like I said, it's still kind of not coming up quickly enough. So that'd be another area for improvement as we go forward. Okay, so this last photo here, again, this is probably like late acceleration, probably about 40 meters out or so. This is going to be mid-flight apparently. It's not a side angle, so you don't see the torso position as well, but you do see fairly high knee lift, some strain. You know, maybe have a tendency to treat the sprints as like a heavy squat and straining too much, so maybe need to kind of relax a little bit more on, and that might help the positions because, like I said, we've noticed on some of these photos that there's still probably a little bit too much forward lean throughout the duration of the intervals. So anyway, that's kind of the observations that I'm seeing. Again, I'm not a track coach, but just trying to look at my footage and make some observations. Just sharing that. Feel free to make comments if you'd like to.